And our final topic this week is a new policy in the Albuquerque Police Department. Officers have been directed to issue citations instead of making arrests for some misdemeanor charges like possession of marijuana, littering, trespassing, those kind of things. This is part of a settlement agreement in a lawsuit, Sophie, and I bring that up to say this has been kind of bubbling under the surface for a while.
For what,
Wasn't
20,
as if,
20
right,
years?
Thank you.
For
It wasn't
20
as if
years.
APD woke up today and said, oh, you know what, we should start doing this.
No, and APD actually, and Eden, they put out this new policy very much under duress.
Right.
You know, the judge in this 20-year lawsuit has essentially said, we're looking at contempt charges here if you don't get off the dime. And I think it's also, you know, an element, it's implicated in the larger Department of Justice oversight that we see for APD. What's interesting is that some of the coverage basically says, like, APD says we're not gonna arrest you for petty misdemeanors. Instead, you're going to get a citation. But there are some loopholes there, and they are that if you are a low-level criminal who you fail to ID yourself, so you say, I'm not going to tell you what my name is or show you my ID, you get arrested. If you refuse to sign the citation, you get arrested. This is at least under the directives, the information that I've read. If you have no ties to the area, meaning you're in from Flagstaff, you're in from Denver,
Hillsborough, New
you're more
Mexico.
likely to get arrested.
That's tricky,
And
right there.
And what's
That's
really
tricky.
interesting to me, among other things, is that, you know, the difference between a citation and an arrest is not just what ends up on your record, but it's also financial. So when you get arrested, your car may get impounded. That can be quite hefty. There are fees that you have to pay, not just bail, but, you know, just for the honor of getting arrested.
Right.
And that idea that these petty misdemeanors might lead to an arrest if you fit into certain categories, you know, the entire lawsuit was really about APD's treatment of people with mental health issues.
Thank you for saying that. That's right.
And you know, I thought to myself as I read this list of what might still get you arrested.
Sounds like you could have a mental health problem.
You fail to identify yourself.
That's right.
You refuse to sign the citation. That's not necessarily surprising behavior from somebody who has a mental health issue.
Especially when confronted by authority.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it takes us back in many ways to the situation with Mr. Byrd. You know, at the gentleman who was shot and killed by APD officers up in the
James
foothills.
Boyd.
Thank you. Yes, Byrd was
Well, you make
Texas.
a good point. Let me swing you
Yeah.
down on that. You know, you know, one could consider what happened to Mr. Boyd to be a misdemeanor. That all they had to do was cite him.
He refused to leave.
What? Well,
I mean,
it could have
no,
been
but
just a
I'm saying
citation.
still-
I hear you.
But the whole
I hear
thing,
you.
no, you know, I just want to make sure I'm not arguing with you. I'm saying,
Sure.
I mean, really, what did he do? He was camping in the foothills.
That's right.
They showed up to throw him out.
That's right.
He really wasn't doing anything to offend anybody.
That's right.
And because they kept pushing a man with mental illness, you know, it reminds me of the story I just saw yesterday. There was a Facebook story about a Charlotte, North Carolina police officer that got called to a scene, and he showed up, and there was this giant man, big. I mean, he was huge, African American, and police had their guns drawn, and an issue was arising. It was going to be bad. They were reuniting this young man with the police officer because the police officer that showed up was able to identify he was autistic, and was able to sit down with him and talk to him and calm him down and rectify the whole situation that was about to go poorly, because these two officers showed up and this giant guy's not obeying the commands. And so when you know, as Sophie pointed out, when you see this that says, you know, dealing with people with mental health is the reason this came to the forefront. And by the way, all of these exceptions to us continuing to arrest you or not being able to arrest you, these exceptions that will allow us to arrest you, are really things that you would think about are dealing with people with mental illnesses. Not having a tie to the area, not telling you who they are, not having ID on them,
Not having a set
not having a
address
set
is one of
address,
them,
not being able to sign their name.
That's right.
Those are all things, and we've talked about this ad nauseum around this table, Gene. You know, first of all, nobody's been harsher on Mayor Berry and his staff than I have. I think it's fair to say that they inherited this problem. This is not something that just happened the other day. They're taking action towards it. But at the end of the day, what is anybody doing to deal with the inordinate number of mental health homeless people we have? We've all talked around this table about traveling to San Francisco and LA, and the numbers in this town are staggering for the size town.
Even anecdotally, just walking around other cities and here. Lieutenant Governor, you know, back to this idea, it's a fairly progressive idea when you think about it. You know, other communities have started to do this because they realize you can't keep clogging up your jails with these minor offenses. But I also hear the voice of new District Attorney Raul Torres here. Do you hear the same things?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And there's two things that I think relate to the DA's office. First of all, not only are the jails overloaded, but they don't have the resources to prosecute petty crime.
That's right.
Petty crime has gone up under this mayor 24% almost.
Wow.
Petty crime, property crime, people with mental health issues or drug and opioid issues. They don't have the resources. Car theft has gone up 46% just during Mayor Barry's term. 46%.
It's a huge problem.
He was going to take on when he got
He
mayor.
did.
Yeah,
He
his
did. Right in the
truck was
studio, he
stolen.
talked about
he
that.
Had
as a matter of
a,
fact.
he had a commercial. My
forgot
truck
about
was
that.
stolen. We need to take care of this.
That's right.
But the point being that I think for the first time in many years, the new DA is working hand in hand. I saw him at a presentation, and one of the city councilors got up and said, "This is the first time we've been invited into the DA's office, the first time we've had a comprehensive look at the picture and the resources." And a man in the audience says, "So if my car gets stolen," he said, "we're so sorry. We're going after the 1,000 worst criminals. That's what we have resources to do."
Right.
So arrests compound their problem of not being able to deal with
That's
petty
exactly right.
crimes
That's
and,
exactly right.
and criminals.
Yeah.
And much of it's driven by mental health, but an inordinate number of it is driven now by people who have long-term addiction
That's right.
and opioid abuse
But
and
see,
are
you get
homeless.
to a point, Lieutenant Governor, I want you to pick up on merit, and that is we're always hearing about the worst of the worst here. That law enforcement's interested in the worst of the worst. But the facts of the matter is we've been going after low-level crime folks here for a long time and getting to the problem Lieutenant Governor is talking about. Are we getting some clarity now of what constitutes the worst of the worst?
I hope so. And I think this is a very slippery slope perception-wise for
Right.
APD, because while Sophia's point that all the reasons that you might get arrested instead of a citation are problematic, still the notion of offering citations, the notion of not incarcerating a significant portion of our population is fairly revolutionary for this area.
That's right.
And they have to be careful when they're selecting the worst of the worst. As you pointed out, if my car gets stolen,
right.
why aren't you busting that guy?
That's right. I'll give you another one. I'll give you another one. The other exemption.
Gene, this is going to cause a problem also with the forfeiture problems we've had.
Well, oh, yeah. Oh, no
I mean,
question. No
we have
question.
been at the forefront of abusing forfeiture
right.
in this community.
That's right.
And now you're telling people, because remember, if I issue you a citation, I can't take your car. If I issue you a citation, I can't take your property from you. So, this is
But
really...
you anticipated a question. A lot of this is going to be up to the discretion of the officer in the
That's-
field, right? This is how these things go, and sometimes that works out, and sometimes that doesn't. You know what I mean?
It
Depending
does
on who's
work out.
watching
Gene,
and,
here's the
you
deal.
know.
Here's the problem. I don't believe that, and I want to make sure I'm clear on this, and I think the table would agree with me. I don't think we believe every police officer is a bad person.
Right.
The problem is that when there is a bad one, they have unbelievable power to cause harm that most people don't have. And so I don't think that these types of rules and these problems are exacerbated by the masses. I think those guys get up every day to go to work and do a great job and put their life on the line. There's the few bad apples, and those bad apples are who these rules are being made
And
for.
sometimes that's driven by pay and education. Fairfax County, Virginia, you cannot be a police officer without a bachelor's degree. Cannot.
That's right. That's the trend. Yeah.
And we have a very different situation where it's a challenge, and for law enforcement, we're fighting a limited pool of applicants. You've got the state police, then you've got APD, then you've got corrections, then you've got all the local municipalities, and then you've
Well, you got
got
Bernalillo County Sheriff, which pays,
Right.
but they pay well. APD does pay pretty well. It's not that it's
Yeah.
it's the smaller towns that are getting taken.
Let me talk about that slippery slope with you. I'm going to finish up here in just a second. The idea, again, officer discretion, slippery slopes, all that kind of thing. Are we headed? What's your sense here? Could there be problems down the road with this idea of citations versus arrests that are
I agree with Mara, and I think with the tenor around the table that this is a step in the right direction. I felt that that DA Torres's new policy is a step in the right direction.
Right.
I've been heartened to hear some clarification. We recently had out of the Bernalillo County DA's office this issue where rape evidence was being destroyed. This is recently in the news, being destroyed, it seems prematurely. DA Torres has stepped in. I think there was some concern that rape and domestic violence might be sort of deprioritized under the new policies, and it doesn't seem, based on what we're hearing right now, that that's the case. Yeah. It's all going to depend on how it's implemented. And one of the real challenges, I feel confidence in the DA's office. I think they're taking a clear look at all of this. One of the real challenges is the knowledge that this policy was forced on APD. And how APD chooses to implement it, how they choose to enforce it within their ranks is going to make the difference between whether it's successful or
We're going to
not.
watch this one close. This could be very interesting over the next few months and years. Thank you all for being here. I'm Gene Grant. Thanks for joining us for New Mexico in Focus. And as always, we appreciate your time and effort to stay informed and engaged. We'll see you next week in Focus.
Funding for New Mexico in Focus provided by the McCune Charitable Foundation and the Nalita E. Walker Fund for KNME-TV, the KNME-TV Endowment Fund, and viewers like you.